19,017 subscribers as we begin the day. The plan for the day is very simple. Just need to mostly sit and do a lot of editing work. Hey Saubhagya. And if it's a 5-minute video, it takes a lot of time. This is one of these corporate videos that I'm making, and corporate videos ka to pucho mat yaar. No breakfast today because the maid who comes didn't come, so time to make some breakfast. If you're wondering how my clothes changed, I just took a shower. Obvious. There are two weird things here. A, I expect people to watch me having breakfast, and B, people actually do. Editing is not always fun. This neat little trick I want to talk about, especially for those who use FCPX to edit. While listening to interviews, you can press L twice. That increases the speed of the whole footage by 2. So that when you listen to it, you can, half an hour interview, you can listen to it in 15 minutes. You just need a little bit of practice and training. Too much distraction at work. Let's go do some physical exercise, people. Half the day is already over and very little progress with the video that I'm editing. But gotta keep at it. Alright, that first cut of the video that I've been editing since morning is kind of done, and even when it's the process of creating the 2-3 minute cut from a 40-minute footage is very frustrating, especially if just people talking, but when you get it right, you do get some sort of kick, and you also get very hungry. You know, sometimes deadlines make you work, so today was that day. This is done. Although I read a lot of variety of books and often mostly listen to them as audiobooks, last year I got a lot into modern Indian history, and recently, because of the whole Kashmir thing happening, I'm reading a bit more about the whole Kashmir struggle. So this book that I started reading a while back, so I've read only one chapter, but I want to share something very quickly. One of the very fascinating insights that I got just by reading this. This is by a journalist who has been reporting from Kashmir for a long time now. You know, that whole Pulwama attack happened, and in general, when a terrorist, so-called terrorist in Kashmir is killed, the media reports, and in fact truly, that the Kashmiris kind of cry for these so-called terrorists, and they in fact, what was that guy, Burhan Wani, you know, they treat him like a martyr, and while when Jawan is killed, a CRPF guy, etc., they are killed, the Kashmiris clap for that, and I'm sure most of them do. And the thing is, as the rest of India kind of makes it such a big deal, nobody is clapping because of they like the violence part of it. For example, in any war, people are killing people and we cheer the soldiers when they are winning. So nobody likes violence, but you can still cheer for the team that you support when the other team loses and your team wins. And let me make you understand a bit of what I'm trying to say here. We have heard of terrorism in Kashmir for such a long time now that it kind of looks like it's just one basket of terrorism, which is not the case really. there was a lot of terrorism activities during 90s, at least from what this book suggests. By around 2000, it took about 10 years from 90s till 2000. This whole separatist surge and the real hardcore terrorist movement funded by Pakistan, supported by Pakistan, was brought down to an extent because the number of army men overall in the region, in the Kashmir Valley, were increased so much that the terrorism really went down. And then we had these kids from 2000, or maybe even during that whole period between 90s, like kids, people like me who grew up in that phase in Kashmir. As they grew up, by the time they were like 10, 11, 12 years old, they saw that there is not much of terrorism, but what they saw was there was this Indian army all over the place. And although the generation before them understood why the Indian army was here in the first place, this generation grew up in for them an unnecessary torture by the presence of army, who would just check them at any point of time, show a lot of disrespect. From the army's perspective, the kind of brutality that they brought in to curb terrorism during the 90s slowly came down. But these kids had not seen that even fierce version of the army guys. So from 2000 onwards, and now we are in 2000, these are the kids who are now in their 20s, a little more than that, 25, 30, who have not seen that much of terrorism, but who have seen Indian Army's presence, and then they see the rest of India. They don't care about Pakistan so much. India is represented by Indian Army, and Indian Army in Kashmir has powers which is beyond imagination. The reason they have these powers is because India believes, the government of India, when I say India I mean government of India, that if we don't give army these powers, the terrorism activities funded by Pakistan can shoot up at any point of time. But because of the presence of so much of army, which was never reduced even when by 2000 the terrorism threat had considerably gone down, because of the presence of the army, it is now leading to a new wave of Kashmiris who absolutely resent Indians. Kashmiris just don't like Indians anymore. Did you know that on YouTube, when you subscribe to our channel and don't press on the bell icon, YouTube does not always notify you when a new video gets uploaded? Just letting you know for your kind information. Hi, I'm Amrit. I make a lot of videos. I vlog about my life. I make short documentary films. 3-minute stories. Companies, non-profit, startups, schools, universities, they hire me to tell their stories or the stories of those they impact so that they can sell more, raise funds, attract people to work for them. And then there's the second type of stories where I go find amazing individuals doing amazing things, and they don't hire me as such, but tell their stories because their stories deserve to be told. In fact, you can help me fund those stories at patreon.com/Vatsap. I come from an IIT business consulting background, but after a few years of corporate job, took a break to become a wedding photographer. I still shoot at weddings across India. There is something beautiful about creating art from weddings. There is something beautiful about creating art from anything.